Kendrick ruined all 3 Drake albums. Yo, listen, man, if you're paying attention, you got to understand what's happening right now. Those 3 albums got cooked for one reason and one reason only. Your boy is playing Ghost in the Shell. He's in your man's head. Your man can't think straight. And he sat there and dropped 40 songs upon your head top, 41, 2, or 43, however you want to look at it. But it's not good either way, no matter how you slice it and dice it. The consensus is on my timeline, it ain't looking good. And as a matter of fact, it took the Owls at least 3 days to recoup and get their mind right to even start really attacking me again. You know they love attacking me every single day, every chance they get. Took them 3 days to get themselves together. I kind of moved with impunity for the last 3 days. I was writing the most heinous shit, and they barely even raised a thumb, because the simple fact of the matter is, I think the consensus is, even over there with the Owls, that this album is in trouble. This is not a good look. Most people think it's too many songs. They are clowning these songs left and right, to the point UMG is snatching down some of these tweets and social media posts of people clowning the songs, clowning the album. Now, let's just be honest. 41, 42, 43 songs to digest in one sitting is way too much to ask of anybody. And that guy on Joe Budden, I think his name is Ish, Doubt the Third, whatever his name is, Ice or Ish or whatever he's called, always had these awful, horrible takes. Well, his new horrible take, and I got a video coming, that whole crew is in lockstep that this album is great, it's hilarious. But his whole thing is, you don't have to absorb it all in one gang. He told your boy Imani, he said, no, just absorb it, and when you feel like it, come back to us, let it sit for a while. He's sitting there trying to figure out ways to tell people how to digest this album that they are not feeling. He's trying to make you slow down and quote unquote marinate with it, because they know that if you try to sit down with it, you're going to get bored, annoyed, and you're going to lose absolute confidence in the whole shit. You're going to feel like you're dying. You're going to feel like, I am on drugs. Who drugged me in here? Because it's long, it's boring, and the simple fact of the matter is, most of the people are saying that they don't like it. It's just a fact. This is not my word. Do not take my word for it. Lock in, go on social media, look at the consensus. Yeah, you got a couple birds going around trying to say it's this, that, and the third, but for the most part, they're scrambling. I saw a little clip of one of those. I told you those OVO, they do the Zoom calls where they really the lesser ones, the least plugged in ones, they do it on Twitter, X, right? They do the Twitter spaces and they try to figure out what's going on. So apparently I saw one of those calls, a clip, I can't remember who shared it on Twitter, but apparently they've decided that Janice, STFU, right? Janice, shut the F up, is going to be the song that they as a collective start to push. They have been silent for those 3 days because they have been trying to kind of regroup. I think a lot of them are stunned that Drake actually put these 3 records out and they're so awful. And I think a lot of them are trying to save face. They're just, I went to one of the most notorious ones, right? There's some girl that always comes on my page and tries to light me up and try to get at me any way she can. Well, she spent a couple of days not really talking about the album, just retweeting everything good about it, not really saying that it's nice, this, that, and the third. So I'm like, they in trouble, because some of the staunchest supporters they're really silent. They're just retweeting. They're lock and step with the whole campaign. They're just doing their marching orders, as in just follow the rules and just post and retweet and this, that, and the third. But I haven't seen much of their comments in regards to the actual songs. So in this actual X Twitter space, you hear them saying that, okay, we're gonna get behind this Janice record, right? Which I heard the record. I didn't find nothing special with it. I'm just gonna be honest. But like I told you, those Zoom calls are real and they get more and more exposed. Someone took a clip of it and he was saying, I can breathe better if I know that we're on the same page with this record. So they're already trying to figure out what's the best record, because they really don't have no records, gang. I'm just gonna be honest. The dude dropped at least 7 videos. As far as I know, it may even be more. I think every day he's dropping a new one. The videos look rushed. They look ill-conceived. It looks like a whole mess. It's like a manic, just one of the videos is just gang, listen, one of the videos is an explosion. The entire 2 minutes and umpteen seconds, they shot an explosion different ways. Drake is not in it, right? If you see his silhouette, that's about it. But the whole video, from front to back is different ways to show this explosion, gang. I cannot make this shit up. It is a disaster. Is all rushed. The concepts are all him by himself somewhere here, there, this, that, and the third. He got one video where he went and met some guy somewhere, threw up what appeared to be a gang sign, and that was the end of that. Video over. Other than that, he's in these spaces by himself. He's in that tower where they I guess it's the, it looks like a pencil or whatever, and I don't know if that's a CNN tower. I don't know what a CN tower or whatever. I don't know what he's in, but it's very famous, and he's in there dancing by himself. Remember that video? One of the fans said, "That's Drake up there." He got that one, but he's by himself. He's in most of these shots, he's by himself. The guy really doesn't really trust many people, and he's the hero in his own story. Okay, so end of the day, I'm looking at this whole rollout. I'm looking at this whole situation, and what I'm seeing is, first of all, your boy is still actually heard about this battle, and for him to still be coming at K-Dot, they try to defend this game, but it's really no defense at this point, because yes, you can come at him, but you're actively trying to still one-up him for stuff that's already happened. You're still talking about stuff from the Not Like That, the Like That verse and the Not Like Us record, and you're still talking about things that happened on these videos, right? You're still talking about stuff 2 years ago, and that is hurting your albums. This whole setup, these 3 albums, first of all, they came as his confidence was shaken. Let's get to why Kendrick ruined these 3 albums. First of all, the confidence level is boo-boo, right? Your boy threw out a whole hard drive worth of music. He's not very discerning, because everything on there didn't need to be on there, gang. Over 40 tracks. I don't think no one's, they're wearing a badge of honor. No one's done this before, but no one has done this before, and rightfully so, because what you're seeing now is a guy that threw out everything he had on that hard drive that Dot told him to burn. He threw out everything, and I said it last year. I said, just put it all out. I didn't think he was going to do it, but he must have heard me. I said, listen, everything on that hard drive, you're taking too long. This was last year. I said, you're taking too long. Throw the whole shit out. So he apparently put it in different categories, put it in different boxes, R&B, hip-hop, Afro beats or whatever, and he put them all together. He made 3 albums, gang. I can't make this shit up. It was the most shocking thing that night when we saw it, when I was live, and people said, Challz, he did over 40 tracks. It's 3 records. I didn't believe it, right? You got Iceman, you got Habitaji, whatever. I don't even know how to say it. They got a T and a J, which is kind of weird for me to try to figure out. So I'm just going to call it Hibbity Bibbity, okay? And then the third one, which is Maid of Honor. He got those 3 albums out, and I think all of them are suffering from a lack of confidence and K-Dot in his head, okay? What I went and did, right? I went and said, okay, let me organize this a certain kind of way so it makes more sense, because yes, he's in his head and he's lowered his confidence level, whereas he didn't want to put out one record, right? He wanted to put out everything because he wanted to hit every genre, but that's because he feels like he can't have this album not do the numbers that he thinks he needs to do to beat this man. And Dot is in his head, gang. Dot is somewhere chilling. He just left Disney World with his family. He ain't really thinking about this whole nonsense got going on. When Dot dropped Mr. Murata, nigga was in Africa, gang. So he don't really worry about all this. He just does his job and he falls back. Drake somehow is still worrying about him. Drake did a whole West Coast record trying to rap on the West Coast beats, and for the most part, people don't like that record. But he did a whole video. He's not even in the West Coast talking about, I got a show coming in Oakland, gang. This is what I'm telling you. You can't make this shit up. He's trying to one-up. He's still trying to one-up Not Like Us. Imagine trying to one-up the biggest record that ever came out in hip-hop, gang. Even Spotify is trying to help this dude coming out with these erroneous numbers, talking about in one day, Drake has passed, I think it was Make Them Pay. Drake's Make Them Pay has passed Not Like Us as the most streamed song in history. Then they had to retract that because it was right. It was a lie. They was lying. So the whole thing came up really fast that, oh, he broke the record. K-Dot, they started to celebrate it. Then they had to start deleting some of that shit because within, I don't know, an hour or so, Spotify came back and said it was a manual error, that no, we apologize profusely, because they need people to trust their numbers. Now, one of these dudes brought up a very strong point. He said, why are you now using manual counts for anything to even be able to make an error? You're supposed to be automated where your numbers are unimpeachable. There is no way you can question the process because they're supposed to be perfect. There's no way you can make a manual error, but Spotify alleges that they made a manual error, which makes absolutely no sense. But it was a rush to get this narrative out there that somehow he won and the other guy lost within one day. It is a massive undertaking, which is still, he's in your head. The problem with this thing is he's still in your head so much, you can't even make quality music. You can't settle on a sound in a pretty much a subject a matter of how you want this album to sound. You just made 3 different projects to try to hit 3 different genres, and most people don't like most of the stuff that's on none of it. Okay, so end of the day, I've seen at least, I'm gonna go 50, 60 responses on TikTok responses, Twitter responses, and Instagram responses, this, that, and the third, and the majority of them are not good. And I'm gonna tell you the ones that are pro Drake. Those are usually people trying to explain. Like, I've seen so many explaining videos about how we just don't get it and how can you digest an album. Gang, and when I start saying, how can you digest an album in the first night that you, at that point, I'm making excuses. So most of the pro Drake stuff, like even with Joe Budden, the JBP, even them, they're trying to explain away people's discourse and discomfort with it, right? It's kind of sad to watch. And I got a video coming about that whole thing, because these guys did a whole thing where they sat there and all of them liked it. I liked it, you liked it. And Joe Budden actually tried to make the diss be cool. When Drake dissed him, he actually has it as a badge of honor. He tried to twist it and spin it, gang. You will never see nothing like this in your life from a grown man, especially a guy that used to be one of the best rappers in the business, okay? But end of the day, we're seeing this guy, he spiraled out of control, still throwing shots at Dot. And it's okay to throw shots, but they can't be related in regards to that whole situation with we're still talking about that one song, okay? So that's where we are. And I'm like, we got to do better when we start to try to pin down what we're going to write about, okay? We got to write about something else at this point, because everybody has moved on. The whole culture has moved on. We can't go backward and be frozen in that situation. And that's my problem with this whole situation. But what I did, right, I said Google, right, because Google is your friend. I Googled and I said, Google, tell me about the shots that we're taking, because we're still taking shots at this guy. Let's talk about it. We still taking shots at a guy who clearly has moved on with his whole life. Even on, I went back and listened to GNX again, as you should, right? I went back and listened, and I'm like, even if he did say something alluded to Drake on there, it wasn't really nothing serious. He didn't have no specific thing that he said about him. It just was like, yo, old boy, this, that, and the third. It wasn't a whole lot of talking about him. His topics were so diverse on that record. You could sit there for hours and just talk about it. This record, the topics, they're very, very loosely related to K-Dot and girls. That's about it. He got the one song when you try to tell everybody that his pops had cancer, and pops came out, was like, yeah, I had it for like, I don't know, and then poof, it was gone. Like I said, it don't work like that. There ain't no poof, I was gone. That's not how cancer works, okay? So something's up, but at the end of the day, it ain't much substance. Once again, we already know that that's how that's going to go. But once again, that's where it is. And I'll be the first to tell you, I didn't listen to the album, just none of it. But end of the day, I heard a lot of snippets. To this point, gang, I may have heard at this point, because I've heard so many snippets, I may have heard 16, 17 different songs off this thing, okay? That's what I'm trying to tell you. I didn't go and sit down, which I said I was not going to go and open up my Spotify or open up my Apple Music and sit there and put my hands on my cheeks and sit there and listen to this thing line for line. I told you that. I said if I do listen to it, it will be through a creator, and I haven't done that yet because there's too much going on where I don't even have time or the desire to sit and listen to it. All I got to do is go on Twitter, and they're taking every single track off of here. I don't know if it's all the bad ones that they're taking, but they're taking some awful shots. These tracks are awful. Everything I'm hearing, the Sexy Red, the so-called West Coast one, I got a show in Oakland, this, that, and the third. Everything on this thing sounds buttocks. I told you there's one song that I felt was the good song, was the first song, Make 'Em Pay. That's the good song. If you want to say, Challz, you don't like nothing, you just a hater. No, I got a good song. That's a good song. Now, the simple fact of the matter is, and I'm trying to listen to other stuff, even the stuff that's supposed to be good records, and I'm side-eyeing, and I'm like, gang, we're not there yet. Like, what you're still on is not there yet. You're not. I listen to a lot of really good rappers, gang, and like bro can rap, but what you say still matters too. Even though you can flow and you can shift and ride the beat and you know what I'm saying, do what you do. At some point, that gets a little stale when you're doing the same exact thing over and over, and you're talking about the same exact subjects over and over. To me, it gets a little stale. There has to be some type of concept where, okay, this is going somewhere. I can relate to this guy. I can resonate with what he's, I can pick up what he's putting down. Can't pick it up, can't put it down because I don't want to touch it. Okay. End of the day, when I'm listening to these songs, a lot of them sound really, really elementary and washed up. But like I said, maybe they are only clipping the really bad ones to make a point. But from what I'm hearing, the second the second album and the third album are full of either R&B or international music. So I don't know how much substance you're going to have in either of those. So all of the substance is supposed to be on the Iceman record, which is what was supposed to be the record you were waiting for. Like I said on my live, many people didn't know they were two and three records. I know we live in a world where we think everybody's on Twitter and this, that, and the third, but a lot of people didn't know about the second one's gang, hence the numbers. The first one is alleged to have, the Iceman record is alleged to do 450, somewhere between 450 and 550. Well, the Hibbity Bibbity, they're talking 115K, and the Maid of Honor, they're talking another 110, 115K. So a lot of people either didn't go to listen to them, didn't want to hear them, or didn't know they were out. Either way, you got 2 bricks out of 3. So end of the day, what we're going to have to do is start saying you just threw two bricks. We're not going to lump them all together because they're not one album. They're 3. Let's just be honest. They all got different codes on them. They all come up in different. You gotta get out of one and hit the other. They're 3 new albums. So we're going to sit there and say the Clips beat the other 2 albums, gang. Okay, we're talking about one album versus one album. Yeah, Iceman was going to. It's fucking. You promote the shit for 2 years. Okay, you fucking roll out. You got motherfuckers licking ice. Yes, that shit did numbers. Of course, no one was under any assumption that it wouldn't. But at the end of the day, you drop 2 more, which is why it's a very big risk. When you're a guy who's really concerned with his numbers, it's a massive risk to sit there and drop 2 more albums at the same time because you risk people not listening to them. And exactly what happened. Okay, Iceman, big numbers, huge records. The other 2, they're, for his standards, they're literally flops. Literally flops. Now they're going to try to combine all 3 and say he did 850. They're going to make this sound like the greatest thing, but it's not, because for one, they are not one. They are not the same. These are all 3 separate releases. So those other 2 releases going on your jacket, gang. And not only that, the people are speaking out saying they're tired of the albums. They don't want all that noise. They're saying it's a bunch of filler. This is what I'm seeing all up and down my timeline. Only people that are saying it's good are the really staunch Drake supporters. But for the most part, the average casual is saying they don't like it. It's too much music and a lot of it is ass. And the thing about it is they're saying that a lot of the lyrical content is very simplistic ABC 3rd grade shit. They're like, this is a man that didn't grow up, and I got a video coming about that. But at the end of the day, all of this stuff is from a guy he couldn't elevate because he couldn't think straight, because he's still thinking about this guy, K. Dot. He's still mad about him. You're still writing about him. Most of these songs are in direct response because either you can't get past him or you want to try to outdo him and you want to try to beat him. Well, it didn't work, and a lot of people are saying it didn't work. And most people, especially the young people that you went out of your way, listen, most of those responses I see that are clowning it are young people, very young people in their 20s. Those are the people giving this album the business. So end of the day, all of that going on them streams with them young ass streamers, Aiden Ross, this, that, and the third, some of them are 10 years younger than you. You're going there trying to match that energy and catch these young kids. Well, the young kids are the one that ain't feeling it. They're the ones making up new words for this shit, making up TikToks, this, that, and the third. They don't like this album, so the mission was not accomplished. It was failed. So what we're seeing is a guy still, I feel like, had he not been so focused on the battle, trying to outdo Kendrick, trying to come up with little quips about Kendrick, would have had a better chance of making a good project. Let me read what Google told me, because Google's going to tell me all the things that he said just so I don't have to go look it up. All right, let me read this. On his surprise triple album drop, Iceman, Maid of Honor, and Hibbity Bibbity, Drake frequently targets Kendrick Lamar, using the rap-heavy Iceman project to fire a direct shot at Kendrick's public image, height, streaming numbers, and lyrics, while Hibbity Bibbity and Maid of Honor lean into softer R&B themes and focus on other targets like A$AP Rocky. The vast majority of the anti-Kendrick artillery is loaded into Iceman, as you would expect. You got to think he made that album as comeback. That's the revenge album. So, of course, he's going to aim at the guy he wants revenge the most. But what I said is, you can't have no substance if your entire rollout is about aiming at one guy. So you spent way too much time on one guy. Therefore, all the other songs are going to suffer because you're sitting in revenge mode for some shit that's 2 years old. It ain't gonna work, my guy. It's gonna sound awful, and it's showing it. All these beat switches. You're trying to recapture moments. You're not looking forward. You're thinking that everybody loved me for the timestamps and this, that, and the third. You're so locked into that, you won't look forward and try to do something new, take some chances. And the chances you did took, the ones I heard, they sound awful. They're mediocre off that second one, whatever that record is, with all them goofy sounds you were trying to do. I'm just gonna be honest. I heard them shits, and these kids are right. This shit is buns, gang. So I'm just gonna be honest. I'm a hip hop head though. Don't expect me to like it. Don't listen to me. Listen to the people that's talking. All right, the shit got a 50% fall off in one goddamn day. Nobody expected that, okay? The numbers are looking bad. There's a whole lot going on. We're gonna get to that on a whole nother video at a whole nother time. But this thing doing, gang, listen, they're gonna try to tell you that this thing is all shits and giggles and lollipops and bubble gum. It's not. They gotta be in panic mode. Nobody album drops that severely the very next day. No one. Does not happen. Doesn't exist. It's not a thing. But it's a whole lot of filler, sugar-coated candy bullshit. So yes, it's going to flop and fall off, because people only went there, like I said months ago. I said they only going to go there to hear the disses. They heard them all. It's no more. It's nothing else to hear there, because it ain't that good, because you're not a good artist no more. You're bitter, angry, and trying to one-up K. Dot. Most of these lyrics you're saying is shit, answering shit that the guy said a year ago or more. You're still responding to him. He's pupperizing you to move in certain ways to try to respond to him. But let me get to what was actually said, okay? Let me get there. Drake criticizes Kendrick's socially conscious image. Right, he said he criticizes his performative activism and his fan base on Janice Shut the F Up, the album, the record that they apparently are going to try to get a running start with and push it to get it where they want it to go. All right, let me read this. Drake directly criticizes Kendrick's socially conscious image, calling his community outreach performative. He claims Kendrick's core audience listens out of the societal guilt and questions his long-term impact on his hometown. Quote, white kids listen to you because they feel some guilt, and that's how your soul gets fulfilled. Handing out turkeys on camera out inside of your hood, then you go back to the hills, gang. That right there tells you everything. He's watching this guy's moves and he cannot stand it. He is envious of this guy's love. He's looking at it as performative. So was it not performative on God's plan when you ran around handing people hundreds of dollars and this, that, and the third, hugging them, smiling, they crying? That was not performative, and you stole that from XXXTentacion. Let's get to that. End of the day, he had a little thing because XXXTentacion was actually on his ass for stealing that song from him, so he never let up on him. To this day, people think that Drake has something to do with his untimely death, right, at the hands of these guys who randomly caught him coming out of some motorcycle shop or this, that, and the third, whatever it was. But they caught him, they robbed him, and he did not survive the robbery. Even Kendrick alludes to Drake's involvement in that on GNX, okay? But end of the day, Drake is the last person to say something's performative, but here we are, right? Hypocritical shit at its finest, but let's keep moving. There's more. But wait, let me see. It says they mock his height and he jokes about his on Euphoria, he jokes about his size, okay? On during the Euphoria beef. So here we go. Right here on the song, Make Them Remember, right? He says that Drake mocks Kendrick's 5'5" stature by comparing him to 5'3" NBA legend Muggsy Bogues. He frames Kendrick's massive 2024 success with Not Like Us as a lucky one-time fluke. Quote, and Muggsy Bogues dunked for once. Even I'm a bit amazed. On that same track, Drake throws Kendrick's own lyrics from the diss track Euphoria right back at him by mimicking, what is it, the braids? Now, gang, you got to understand how long that what is it, the braids thing has been bothering him for him to say that, right? That's got to be something that gets him up 3:30 in the morning when he's walking in his robe to the kitchen, right, to get a glass of water. He's thinking about these lines from Euphoria. They still hitting him, gang. For you to say that in 2024, no one's thinking about that but you. But the Muggsy Bogues thing, even Muggsy Bogues dunked for once. He's still trying to lure the bro and son him and make it seem like you so small and short. I can't believe you do these things. You got lucky. You've been behind me all this time. I'm the champion. You ain't nowhere near me. But yeah, Muggsy Bogues, sure. Get your dunk off, little man. There's all this hype shit. The hype jokes aren't funny. It wasn't funny when he did it on the other song. It ain't funny now. It's still, to me, you're reaching, trying to find an angle, because it ain't that many angles to get this dude. With a guy like that, it's not that many angles because the culture loves him. So you're attacking shit that really. I just think the guy don't really know how to diss, gang. I'm just gonna be. I think I'm listening to these disses and I'm like, at this point, we've heard a good amount of records to know. I don't know if this guy really know how to diss, gang. I really just don't. Some of the stuff sounds so childish and silly. It's like, wait, we just got to start to feel back. Wait, maybe bro just really don't know how to diss nobody, right? These rhymes are so kindergarten. Maybe this is all you're gonna get from a guy from Canada. Maybe this is it. These are the muscles to him, right? I'm like, I don't know if Beanie Siegel would write these raps, gang. I'm just gonna be honest. We saw Beanie Siegel and Jada, this, that. We never heard no shit about this. Okay, let me continue. He's dismissing the big three and bodying allegations on Make Them Pay. All right. So, on Make Them Pay, Drake completely dismisses the historical narrative that he, Kendrick, and J. Cole make up the contemporary rap's big three, flipping Kendrick's own anti-big three bar from Like That. So he's still in the past, gang. We're still trying to figure out ways to, you got to think, if these things sitting in your skull, you're trying to figure out ways to combat them, even if it's years later. I'm going to assume, gang, I'm just going to be honest, I'm going to give him the benefit of doubt a little bit, that a lot of this stuff was wrote a long time ago. That's the only thing I can think of. There's no way you're writing this anytime in the last 8, 9 months, 10 months. There's no way you writing this stuff. There's no way you're still responding to Like That now. There's absolutely no way. When you've had leaks, this, that, and the third, you've already had chances, and most of the chances, the shots you took on all them leaks and this, that, and the third were for DeMar DeRozan and LeBron. You could have been said this stuff, so maybe you was holding it back to put it on Iceman, but timing is everything, gang. You missed that window crazy. You're still talking about Like That, which gonna make people go listen to Like That. Let me read this, though. F a big three anyway. There was too many chefs in the kitchen. It was a mess to begin with. He also doubles down on his past allegations that Kendrick used bot farms to artificially inflate the streaming data for his diss tracks. Quote, damn, who is this guy for real? I guess a magician. 100 million streams vanished and no one got questioned. So he's trying to bring into question this whole thing about Dot getting a bunch of streams removed from Not Like Us. But every time I went to check, it was never real. It was never a real thing that happened. It was always this stuff about, oh, monthly listeners. Monthly listeners go up and down monthly. And Spotify cleans house on a lot of that stuff, this, that, and the third. It's a lot going on. It was across the board for all artists, but they try to pin it on Dot and make it like, we're all the monthly listeners. They go up and down. Dot wasn't releasing nothing, so the shit goes down. It is what it is. But here we are. Even in the video, he allegedly burns down a bot farm. We've never known Dot to be a guy chasing numbers. If he was chasing numbers, he would make number chasing music. So you clearly see he's not a number chaser, but they still want to stick to this narrative that somehow Dot is botting. And he only bots to try to compete with this guy. I don't think Dot goes around trying to compete with the music he makes. 90% of it has nothing to do with what this guy got going on. He's not even in the same lane. He's not trying to get your crowd. So I don't know how it keeps coming back down to you're accusing this guy of trying to outstream you and this, that, and the third, when it don't make no sense. If he was trying to outstream you, he would try to make records to compete with you. It never made sense, but they want this narrative anyway. And the F the big three, there was too many chefs in the kitchen. It was a mess to begin with. Well, that was you guys' narrative, and you had no problem with it when Cole was saying it, right? But now it's too many chefs in the kitchen, this, that, and the third. You ain't had no problem when you reached out to him to be on the first-person shooter, but now it's too many chefs in the kitchen. Got it. Let me keep this pushing. Flipping Not Like Us and forgetting his raps. Ran to Atlanta. The chorus, Atlanta will tell you about my run. Initially mirrors and responds to Kendrick's jab on Not Like Us, still responding to Not Like Us, where Kendrick rapped that Drake runs to Atlanta when he needs equity or a check balance. Then on Dust, Drake claims Kendrick music lacks staying power and catalog longevity. What was the year you said you had slaps? Because I don't remember it going like that. I don't remember one word of your raps, gang. First of all, it's erroneous and egregious to try to say that Dot don't have no records. But Dot never said I got slaps anyway. Dot, I've never heard him say I got slaps, this, that, and the third. This is the narrative they've been spinning, gang, since I want to say To Pimp a Butterfly, that Dot don't have no smackers. Meanwhile, the culture loves this guy. They can't understand it, and they don't understand it because they've been money driven and driven for numbers so long that not doing things for money and numbers don't make sense to them. So they're going to lower it down to where's the slaps. They've been saying that. They were saying that 10 years ago. Where's his hit records? Right before Damn came out with them hit records, they were, where's his hit records? I don't see him. So when he started doing these big records with Rihanna and all these different slow, sit down, be humble, all these big records started coming, it was like, oh man, oh, still can't mess with Drake. So this has been a narrative for years that he don't have no quote unquote slaps, but this guy got big as records as this guy. No, he don't make commercial records because he's not a commercial rapper. Okay, but end of the day, he does get run, and he gets run in a higher level when it comes to the culture in those hoods that you desperately want to get to, you want to appeal to. Let me continue. Then he goes, I don't remember a word of your raps. Too Hard for the Radio, which is the okay. I know some of you haven't heard this album, but Too Hard for the Radio is the quote-unquote West Coast song on the album that he tries to appear to out-rap West Coast Kendrick at his own game. He tries to beat him at his own game, which in and of itself, to me, some people like that record. I don't. Most people don't. So it's another record that didn't need to be on there that slowed your album down. Now you're trying to go at him over a West Coast beat because he's a West Coast artist and he gets love in the West. You're talking about I got a show in Oakland, which I said he almost has to go to. He has to go to Cali, gang. It's almost a given because he's going to look soft if he don't. He should be okay over there. He should be fine being him get in, get out. Okay. End of the day, he might be, but you saw what Dot did. Dot flew home, did his show and flew home. He didn't sit there and let niggas try to play any silly ass games and this, that, and the third. Right? Remember Pusha T went to Toronto and they had somebody throw some shit at him. Goofy shit, right? End of the day, Dot did his show there in Toronto, sold the shit out. They was singing Not Like Us, ran it back. So Drake gotta go if he want to stay relevant in this system. I know some of his fans like, nah, fuck that. He don't need to go to no Cali. No, he do gotta go. But end of the day, he did this record to prove that he can out-rap him on his own fucking turf, and he can make music like him. It's silly shit, it's childish, and this is immature thinking that I need to do a West Coast type of sound. You've never done that before. You don't do that ever, but you're going to do it just to prove you can. And most people don't think you pulled it off. Some people that like you, they're going to want to believe that, but it really didn't. To me, I listen to a lot of West Coast rap, gang, didn't pull it off. Didn't sound convincing, and ain't nobody on the West Coast going to listen to this shit. But let me continue, right? He targets the broader West Coast movement, calling Kendrick a little boy and mocking his Not Like Us producer, DJ Mustard, telling him he hasn't had a real hit since they worked together years ago. Would you like a breakdown of shots that Drake took at other celebrities like LeBron James, J. Cole, and A$AP Rocky? No, because I'm not here for that. We talking about Dot. And this thing with Mustard, saying Mustard ain't have a hit since he worked with him, gang, they just outright lie to you. They lie to your face. This dude, Mustard, just produced Not Like Us, which is probably the biggest record in the world at this point. So how is that not a hit since he worked with you? End of the day, you're so busy trying to split up and divide and separate. You're mad at this one for working with this one. You're mad at that. You're going through the whole industry. That's why you're in these videos by yourself, because you separated yourself from every single person that ever worked with anybody close to this guy. So now you're trying to get out here and do this stuff. It don't look like a lot of people want to do features with you, or if they do features, they tucking their tail in. They doing them in silence on the low. I don't hear nobody. First of all, ain't that many on here. Let's just be honest. And he said it himself. I really don't want to. I want to do it by myself. Well, you might have could have used them features, gang. I'm just gonna be honest. And I don't know if Lil Baby made it or not, but it's a couple Atlanta guys, and that's about it. Couple women on there. It really ain't no exciting features on here, gang. And it looked like you needed them. This is a lot of work to try to carry on your own. And a lot of times the stuff I heard, it sounded like a guy getting drowned out. It sounded like the auto-tune is drowning you, like they're saying. It sounded like the concepts are not fully flushed out. It sounded like a lot of this shit was experimental. And you didn't flush these thoughts out. And you put that shit together for basically trying to prove something, quote unquote, get out of the record deal. We could have a whole other video about this record deal, right? Allegedly he dropped 3 albums to get out of his record deal. Well, what they not asking you is, why did he still owe 3 fucking albums? Why did he still owe 3 albums when he supposedly fulfilled all his contract and was talking to Sony about to do he was supposed to be negotiating with Sony for a $500 million deal, but then he comes out and says, well, I still had 3 albums. Make that make sense. That's the next video, gang. All right. But also I wanted to see who else thought this way about Dot being in his head. And Charlamagne allegedly felt the same way. I want to read this article. This is off Hot New Hip Hop, right? Charlamagne said no one has time to have an opinion on all these albums, but he spoke on the previews concerning the Iceman situation. That these are futures inclusion and this, that, and the third about A$AP Rocky and DJ Khaled. That their inclusion in the disses is more telling, as telling as the Kendrick thing. All right. He also said that he like Make Them Cry, but believes that the boys' frustration with beef narratives is one of his own doing. Quote, woe is me, cry me a river, they jump me, mommy, but I'm coming back with the chopper on everybody. Charlamagne the God expressed. Also, he scrutinized the 6 Gods, Khaled criticism concerning silence on Palestine. Quote, what have you ever stood for, Drake? Charlamagne expressed as hypothetical fan criticisms. You've been out here eating off the black experience for America for a long time. I ain't never heard you say Black Lives Matter, right? Then he said the K-Dot thing. This is what we're talking about. He said, Kendrick beat Drake's ass so bad that he's been reflecting on his life the last 3 years. You heard him say, I'm going to become a man. I never seen a man get his ass beat like this and reflect on life this way. This is crazy. Kendrick really gave him a spanking. All of y'all Drake fans might have to thank Kendrick later for real. He's questioning everything. He's really questioning his life. And that's what he's saying. Like, what happened was we saw this guy spank him so bad and say how many ways that he wasn't a man. This guy actually sat down to a degree and started to try to reflect on some of these songs. I want to say 2 or 3, try to reflect. And even those were guarded. They were very simplistic. They didn't have a lot of umph to them. So a real writer could have really made you feel his pain, and not pain in a way to be like, oh, woe is me, I'm a victim. It would have been more so a mental, a cerebral questioning of life itself and his place in it, right? Which is not what he's doing. It's always some type of way to be a victim at the end of the day and to have someone have done him wrong. That's what we usually see, and that's what we got on this, the 2 or 3 album songs that were reflective. They weren't really hard-hitting, deep thoughts, deep dives, right? He said, somebody told me, who said 40 told him to dig deeper. He hates digging deeper because he doesn't want to. The surface level shit got him there, but that's the thing, it's not going to keep him there. A lot of people have outgrown Drake, man. That's it. I feel like what we saw was an album completely hell-bent on revenge, answering shit that nobody's questioning anymore, stuff from 2 years ago, still trying to regurgitate responses for stuff that has already been litigated in the court of public opinion. You're not going to change none of them lines on Not Like Us. You're not going to change nobody's opinion of body. You're not going to change anything that we already believe, but here we are. He's still trying to do it. I think he's underwater, and I think these 3 albums were a grave mistake and a bad idea, okay? And we're going to dig deeper in this. We're not going nowhere. And salute to all the people on Twitter that keep asking me, why you keep talking about a guy you hate? Nah, this is tough love, gang. Right? You can't be the king of rap, but not nobody address you and come into your kingdom and try to call you out. Well, this is what hip-hop is about, and that's why I'm here, gang. Listen, I'm going to leave it at that, man. Listen, CLBMG, head on over to that black-yeti.com website. Let them know who sent you. They ship all over the continental U.S. I got a Patreon page. It's Challz Brown. Lock in over there. I put a lot of stuff over there. I just put a new one up the other night. Also, the CashApp, it's Challz Brown, is no longer CLBMG, it's Challz Brown. So lock in whatever you want to do with that. And we got a new video called Peanut Butter Tim's, me, TJ, and Fliz. It's on my page. My page is back. Salute to everybody who prayed for me and retweeted and added the YouTube creators and made sure that we got locked in, okay? A lot of YouTube commentators such as Big Zoe and my guy Quality and others locked in. Big Kish, a lot of people threw their support behind me, and I appreciate you for that, okay? I'm out of here, man. I'm going to catch you on that flip side. Peace.
Look, mission impossible to drop a few lines without dropping old times when Southern Hill was still a gold mine. When pistol grips was my shit and I sold mine. When Alias was not a show and they told mine. Elevate your mind with high quality THC infused products. BlackYeti.com. Black-Yeti.com.
CLB.
Get my coat. Get my sheepskin. Grab my wallet. Get my pocket knife. And get that hat right there. We out. Grab my pocket knife too. Let's go. When I first came to the city, niggas didn't believe me. I just wanted to join a team and throw assist pass easily. 6 man off the bench, alley-oop pass freely. Suit up for one game and hope a scout might see me. But nah, niggas is greedy, wasn't rocking with him. Unplugged the scoreboard, put a lock on the gym. Told me to power forward, point guard at the rim. And left me with no center and a ball full of phlegm. Not knowing that I'm a dog, a Rottweiler within, with the heart of a pit bull that don't bark for pretend. My bites cut deep, break the bone and the skin. With the level of hustlenomics you do not comprehend. So first I took a block down on the west side end, and then secured a spot with some goons and some kin. And then sent out some flyers, let the games begin. And in 6 months time, the city like that's him. Oh yeah, he the one that moved the hustle to the burbs. And yeah, he the one that knocked the hustlers off the curb. And yeah, he the one that set up shop without a word. And he the one that got it cracking, and all he did was rapping by the Hooters. I kept killers from being shooters. Put a mic in a thug's hand, now he loyal like Pats fans. Take a man off the streets past the needles and crack cans. Promise mama to keep him safe and put some food in his face, and he'll kill for you, but I don't need him for that. Click like, click share, tell them bitches we back. Share the whole location, tell them niggas where we at. Cause we out here and we ain't the cheese, we the trap.